Hi, it's Brandy with Fluffy Fleece Macrame Tutorials.
Today we're going to be covering this multicolored tassel. It still has kind of that woven spiral to it, which is similar to the previous design, but it started and it is finished differently. So let me go ahead and start that for you. So on this particular design, what we want to start off with is ending up with what would be the length of the tassel fringe. So on this one, we're going to tie a knot, but we're going to tie a knot in an uneven way. So it's just going to be an overhand knot. And this particular knot is actually going to be what fills the head. So that's why this is firm in here. There's a knot inside of it. So we want to keep these cords pretty even, but we're just going to snug them down nice and tight. Like that. Okay. So as you'll see here, there's two different lengths. This end is going to be basically the tassel fringe that comes out, and then this is what we're going to tie all of our knots with. So I like to do this particular design with the knots kind of up on a platform. That way I can kind of stuff these cords down in here. You could use a big spool of tape, that would work well. Obviously macrame artists have things like this, but I just want to kind of have that knot sitting in that tube. Now we're going to take the cords, we're going to spread them out, and we're going to make all of our knots over the top of this spool. And this will end up being the very top of the design. And we're going to work out and it'll create this head of the tassel. So just like the other tassel that I created, which is the woven spiral, we're going to do this design the same way. We're going to start by creating a little bit of a loop here, and we're going to go over the top and then back behind, and we're going to try and retain this little loop right here. So over the top, back behind, over the top, and then back behind. And we're just going to go all the way around doing the same little woven design, spiral design. So we're at the end, so we're going to take this end loop and we're going to attach these all together by running this last cord through the front of the brown one here, the loop, and then through the back. That way they're all run through the same way. Now these little knots are going to get tightened up. So you'll just pull each cord to tighten it. This doesn't have to be overly tight at the top. You actually want it to be kind of just holding its shape, holding the design, but not super, super, super tight. The other design that I show and I've linked, these knots all have to be very, very tight, but this one, it actually needs to be a little bit looser. So you just hold your hand on there and you kind of tighten those up. So that's the start. And you're going to keep going around in the same fashion. As long as you're always going clockwise on the design, your design's going to turn out properly. If you lost track and you started going counterclockwise, your design wouldn't turn out right. It would almost look like a braid, I think. But this way they just kind of keep at the same angle every time you go around. So that's what we're gonna keep doing. And you can start anywhere. Like before, I think I started with the brown one. I'm just starting with the cream one. As long as you go the same way, it's gonna turn out right. But again, you wanna keep that little loop there. And these are just gonna go over and back. And over and back. Over the top and then to the back. So this is a 3mm cord. So you're actually gonna go around the head of this tassel more than you would with a 4mm cord. So on the other tassel, I have you go through or go around 4 times, but on this particular one, you can kind of count here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think it's 8 times, that includes the top one, that we end up going around the head. So again, you're gonna just kind of hold the top and snug these down. There we go. And we'll continue on doing the same thing. So this is the 3rd row. You want to keep that little loop for over and back, and then over and back on the black one. Over the top and then back, over the top and back. And then we're going to go through that little loop. And just go around and tighten them up. Okay, so we're starting to make kind of like a little bit of a dome there over the top of that knot. So same thing again, over the top and back, keeping that little bit of a loop. Okay. Over the top and back, keeping that little loop there. So the brown one goes over the top and back. Keep going around. So this particular tassel does take a bit longer to make than the 4mm, because anytime you're using a smaller cord, you're gonna be basically ending up having to create more knots to take up the same amount of space. So if you don't want it to be as labor intensive, you can use a thicker millimeter cord and it'll end up being larger a lot faster. It'll get larger faster. Okay, we're going to take this out, and we're going to see where we're at with our little tassel head. So this just kind of gets curled down, and then you start working around the tassel, and it kind of gets pulled up on itself. Your knot is already in there, which kind of helps to form the head. So to finish the tassel off, now that we have it kind of rounded and it gets kind of smushed in at the bottom and rounded, we're going to take and we're going to do a gathering knot. So on a gathering knot, we have the one strand, end of the strand sticks up at the top, and the other forms a little half a loop. And we're going to hold that in place, and we're going to create a gathering knot. And this is a thinner cord, so I'm going to probably go around like 7 times. Or so. Looks about right. So just bring it around the bottom there. We're going to bring it through the gathering, not the loop at the end. So we're going to go through there and hold that in place. And we're going to pull up on the strand and pull it into the gathering knot. Just kind of halfway into the gathering knot. So from there, it is just trimming this top one, trimming the bottom one, and then we'll just trim these all evenly across. And they'll get brushed out. I brush my tassels out, kind of the bottom half of the tassel. Right here, we're just trimming that off. And so we're just gonna brush out the bottom half of the tassel just to make it a little floofy. That's it for this tutorial. It's the multicolored spiral woven tassel. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining me today, and I hope you'll subscribe as well as set up notifications so that you can tune in whenever I have new tutorials.
Please subscribe by clicking the center logo on the next screen. Please check out my channel for more fiber art tutorials.